DC Collective here, and I am really excited to bring you our new series. This is called Sibling Scream.
And the four of us are about to dive into the Scream series. Now, I'm going to introduce first our newest co host, Jodi. Jodi, say
Hi, I'm Jodi, big Scream enthusiast. Worked with JimmE at a video store in high school.
yeah.
Aging myself there.
I mean, we both are, right? Video
Yeah.
stores.
Video stores.
We'll get into it, but that comes back even into Scream. Returning co-hosts, we have Becky, who we have done 4 wonderful podcasts, 3 about the Oscars and 1 about the movie Presents. Becky, say hi.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me back. I'm excited to be here.
And our final co-host that we got is my brother Eddie, aka Brother Eddie. Brother Eddie, say hi.
Hey everyone, good to be back.
Yeah, we talked about some Thanksgiving, which has definitely, now thinking about it, a lot to owe Scream.
Dude, I said that when we recorded that the first time. I was like, it's Scream, but
yeah, Thanksgiving is great. I love Thanksgiving so much, but fun. We're here to talk about Scream. Eddie and I did an episode about Thanksgiving. Check that out. Jodi, my first question that I've asked everybody when we've done a horror podcast is, what does horror mean to you? Why do you love horror?
Good question. Scream is my favorite horror movie, and I remember, maybe this is jumping the gun a little bit, but I remember it was the first movie I saw where I felt like, this is cool. Like, it wasn't like the kids' movies we watch or like my mom's rom-coms. It just felt like dangerous and cool. And I think, I don't know, maybe I've chased a little bit of that fun. They're just fun. And it's like I'm a therapist, so I talk like a therapist sometimes. It's like a safe way to feel scared, you know? And that's, I guess, what it means to me. Fun and scary.
Excellent. We're going around and do this. What's your favorite scary movie, if you have one? Well, you just said Scream.
It is, yes.
Becky?
That's a hard question, but I think as soon as you asked that question, Nightmare on Elm Street comes to mind. I watch it every year for Halloween. It's a no skip for me. And I was actually Freddy Krueger for Halloween last year.
That was some really great creepy makeup that you had.
It was.
Excellent stuff. Go check that out. But another Craven, just like Scream.
Yes. Yes.
You know, interesting. Eddie, how about yourself? You got a favorite scary movie?
The 2 that immediately come to mind. Well, now I just said 3. There's Scream, and they're all completely different too. So there's Scream, the first Conjuring,
okay,
and Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
And they're all completely different, so it's kind of hard to choose which one is my favorite. But I don't know, something about Scream is like where you're not terrified and like kind of freaked out, but it's also like kind of scary. Like I could like sit down and really watch being like some of like Hereditary or The Conjuring is like I don't even like. It's almost like you need to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Hereditary is a tough watch, and
that was a one watch and never again for me.
I watched it once when it came out, which was before I had my child, and then I watched it like an idiot during the pandemic after I had my child when she was very young, and that was
You're still here to tell the tale. That must have been hard.
barely tough. For me, when it comes to horror, I always think in terms of creature and slasher are basically the 2 that I always think of. And like when I say creature, I even go like vampire, werewolf, zombie, kind of into that realm. I'm not really talking like kaiju like Godzilla. That's a different kind of type of monster. So for me, like I at this point watch Night of the Living Dead in a theater every single year, and have been doing it minus the time in the pandemic since like 2016, and it is like one of my all-time favorite things to do. I go out to Woodridge, Hollywood Boulevard out there, because we're all local to Chicagoland area. But that place is awesome. It's just like Alamo Draft House. They serve you drinks and food and all that kind of stuff. But they always play Night of the Living Dead. And me and all my knucklehead friends, we all pile into a car and go out there, and it's just a great time. So like at this point, that movie just like means so much to me because I do find myself to be a Romero zombie kid when it comes to horror. When it comes to that, like 28 Days Later, cool. Like the remake of Dawn of the Dead from Zack Snyder and like James Gunn, fine. But like
Hi.
but like when it comes to my zombies, they like shuffle and they kind of stumble and stuff. They're not running. Um, in my older age, I became a lot less tough on like 28 Days Later and the remake of Dawn of the Dead, but I still stand by like the Romero, and that's why I love Shaun of the Dead as well. So like that's another one. Like Shaun of the Dead, all time favorite movie. Like I went back and saw that 20-year anniversary where they redid the sound and they put the blood in front of the where he grabs the Diet Coke because he like slips, but if you look at the floor there was never blood there. So they re-released it and he did the George Lucas of it and changed it. So yeah, two zombie movies are definitely probably my two all-time favorite movies. Shout out though to From Dusk Till Dawn. That's in love that movie. Good good movie. But I also love Scream. And Scream I saw at home for sure.
Mhm.
And I like 1996. This comes out December 20th, 1996. My parents are not taking me to the movies at this point. But this is also in the height of home video.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest stories I have is about watching Jurassic Park. Our uncle Eddie and I, he used to get laser discs and then record the laser discs on VHS and like I don't know, give them to the family or sell them to the family, whatever he did. But either way, I watched Jurassic Park all the time on this VHS. But the laser disc you had to flip over, and so it would tell you flip disc over. I remember watching Jurassic Park on DVD for the first time with like Matt Murphy and like Chris Butera and stuff, and there was no flip disc over in it. And I like was like, what are we watching here? Where's the flip disc
What is this
over?
magic?
I'm like, what is this? And they were like, what are you talking about? And then like Murphy being the person he was, he dug in a little bit and he was like, did you have like a bootleg version of this? And I was like, well, my uncle did have a laser disc thing. And he was like, well, there you go. That's the answer. And I was like, this whole time I thought I was watching legit Jurassic Park. My uncle just made a VHS bootleg for it.
We're old school and we had the VHS tape.
There you go. VHS tapes. Oh man. And that's what Drew Barrymore talks about at the beginning of this movie. In the opening, I'm about to watch a video. I'm just cooking some popcorn. In
Yeah,
that
I remember
initial,
her having the movie she rented. Yeah.
huh?
I remember she had like a stack of movies she rented.
Right.
Mhm.
So Scream. Where do you guys first watch it? At home, with friends, among yourselves? Jodi, Becky.
Jodi and
Becky and
I,
I watch it at home.
yeah, like our parents went to go see it in the theaters, and I specifically remember them raving about it. And we wanted to see it so bad, but at first our mom was like, no, this isn't for kids. And then eventually when it came out on VHS, she gave in and we watched it. But as we mentioned before, it was like the director's cut. So it had way more in the home release version than the theater version. And I think at first it scared the shit out of us because it was the first time we were experiencing like gore.
Right.
It
We
was
were
gross.
it was gross. Yeah.
And like the idea of high school, like when it isn't that far away from like us in that it's like, oh no, we're on our way to be there. So the
Mhm.
reality of like, oh, this could actually happen. I don't know. It always felt a little bit more real, despite it obviously just being, like a new age slasher film. And but That's probably why the people who first seen Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween and stuff are like, oh yeah, and love it, and why these things become phenomenon and why we have it. Eddie, how about yourself? Where do you first see Scream? How do you first see Scream? Because
I am almost positive I watched it for the first time in mom and dad's basement only like right before 5 was coming out, I think is when I started watching them all. So I
whoa,
was like really, yeah, I was like really late. I'm pretty sure I didn't watch anything else because I feel like I would remember if I was younger. That I still have that like traumatizing memory of watching like Halloween and Michael Myers when I was like 5 years old and just
yeah,
Yeah.
just being
oh, bad brother.
terrified, just being terrified for like a month about that. But so I feel like I would
He's
have
the
remembered if I watched
scariest.
Scream. He is.
Mhm.
So Scream, wow. So you're even later to that. Now, watching the first Scream, did that like were you coming to it later, seeing other horror movies that probably mimicked it or have like, pulled the good stuff from it? Like, did you see these tropes before? Have you seen people like did you see other things that had already like kind of talked about it or whatever?
Yeah, like kind of. Um, but I don't like Scream. It just seemed like they did it so, and maybe it's because they did it like first, kind of. But it just seemed like they did it so much better than a lot of the other movies. Or
Mhm.
like I don't like, especially when it comes to like Sydney and kind of the final girl and everything. Like she's just so much like she's just such a better final girl than other horror movies in my opinion.
Agreed.
Right? Like,
She is the final girl.
I
Yeah.
think the casting was just magical because at
Yeah,
the time, I don't even think Courtney Cox, she was known for Friends, but she
right.
wasn't really known as like a movie. If I recall correctly, she wasn't really known as like a movie actress, and like she kicked ass in it.
Exactly. And like Courtney Cox had to fight for it. Like because they weren't looking at her because you're right. They were like this nice, like kind of bubbly, like Monica? What? From
Mhm.
from from Friends? Her? She wants to be this like hard-nailed, like quick-witted, like almost like cruel reporter? What? Yeah, it's called acting, guys. Like, let's give her a chance. Let's audition her. And of course, they eventually do, and the rest is history. Like she's doing Friends and Scream, literally the complete opposite ends. But so is Nev Campbell, who was then
Yeah.
brought in. Like, let's talk about Drew Barrymore for a
Yeah.
little bit. In the 90s, Drew Barrymore, is she, Eddie, you can answer this question, I guess, in like the modern 2000s for yourself. But Becky and Jodi, Drew Barrymore in the 90s, is she like an idol of your guys's? Do you guys are you guys watching a lot of her movies, or do you like what do you know of Drew Barrymore in 1996?
I'm a huge Drew Barrymore fan. I think a lot you either love her or you hate her, right?
Fair.
I absolutely loved her, and I think part of the reason why a lot of people were even drawn to Scream in the first place was because of Drew Barrymore. I think that she wasn't even cast in the movie and she asked to be on it. So when she's like in the trailer and everything, everyone thought she was going to be the final girl. And she's on the cover of
Mhm.
the movie poster. So everyone thought she was going to be the final girl. So I think that too was the start of like the big shock value in movies and even TV shows where you expect this person to make it to the end, spoiler alert, but she
Mhm.
dies right away.
Yeah,
Yes, I was a huge Drew Barrymore fan, so I remember being very excited about it.
excellent. Jodi?
I really like Drew Barrymore, and it's hard to think like if I'm just using hindsight. I can't remember what I thought of her at like 8 years old. I don't know what we would have
Right?
seen her in. Um, so I can't remember at the time what I would have thought. With hindsight, I've watched the documentaries and stuff, and so I understand now the context was incredibly shocking that she was the biggest actor. She, like Becky said, she was on the poster, and for her to die right away was just like, oh, this is something different. Like this is something different. I don't know. It was very exciting.
So, Eddie, what's your relationship to Drew Barrymore?
Not
You and Drew don't go way back.
much.
um, I mean, like, other than Scream, do you know, like, do you have another movie from Drew Barrymore at all that you're like, I like that movie?
Let's
even part of your lexicon, because this is part of the reason why I wanted him on here, because I want to see like some of this almost generational divide, but not really, but maybe.
no, like really not, to be honest. I haven't seen well, there's Blended, which was mom's favorite movie for years, but that actually that might have made me dislike Drew Barrymore, so we'll leave that one out. Blended was just the worst.
Never Been Kissed, Wedding Singer.
So
50 First Dates.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen those, no.
Oh,
Yeah.
Riding in Cars with Boys.
oh, Riding in Cars with Boys.
I haven't seen it.
So Wedding Singer, I'm actually shocked that I haven't made you watch that, because that's Adam Sandler as well.
That one sounds familiar. Maybe I have seen it, but
So,
like
It sounds familiar.
but like again, 1996. He's still not what? You're 02, so he's still not born for another 6 years.
yeah.
Okay. We'll give you a
I'm just
So,
a little bit
like,
bit older than that, so I'm there with you.
But these so Scream, Drew Barrymore, because if I'm being honest, I probably associate Drew Barrymore most, not even with like her Adam Sandler team up of like 50 First Dates and Wedding Singer, more so as Birdie and E.T. and Casey in Scream, if I'm being honest. And especially in 1996, like the only thing I really know her for is being the little girl in ET, like, and so like and so it's so weird thinking about that too, of being like, oh, I probably watched ET. I know I watched ET a whole bunch, but then like at some point in like 2000 or like 2003, when I go back and start rewatching Scream again, I'm like, oh my god, the little girl from ET dies. Because that's your like 13-year-old self's like connection to these movies or whatever, or at least mine.
Oh, Becky, she was in Babes in Toyland.
Oh, great movie.
Okay.
Poison Ivy.
When did Ever After come out?
In the 2000s.
Oh, cool.
That would have been probably 01, 03 maybe.
She was in Batman Forever.
Yeah, she's dressed, she's like the angel to Two-Face.
Why, Becky, Ever After is 98.
Okay, so close. I'm trying to think of around what she was in 96 then that we would have.
I think she was known, I think, like in the tabloids because she was the little girl in ET, and then she went to rehab, and she came from a Hollywood family, so I think she was a name, even if only for kind of the headlines she caused. And then she was in Poison Ivy and like some other smaller movie, like thriller type movies.
And like then she's like that Hollywood success story that like Robert Downey Jr. and stuff and other people get later in life, of like, I had family, in Hollywood. I developed like, a drug habit because like I was introduced and like started doing this stuff way too young. Like no kid should be seeing the kind of stuff that like Drew Barrymore and like Robert Downey Jr. and stuff like kind of saw growing up on sets and stuff, especially back then where there was like no protection unless mom and dad or like said guardian saw it. But look at even
emancipated herself because I think her parents were like trying to steal her money or something.
Macaulay Culkin, Will Wheaton, like classic examples of that. I mean, even Britney Spears being in her conservativeship and stuff, not like movies obviously, but like, well, she did Crossroads, so like we can talk about it. It's adjacent.
This is kind of discussed in Scream 3, but we can get to that later, I guess.
Yeah. Yes. We will. We'll put a pin in that. But I guess then this movie, when released in 1996, is a huge hit. Makes $103 million domestically over a 31-week release, and goes on to make another 70 million worldwide for a grand total of $173 million. That's a bona fide hit off of a $15 million budget that originally was 12 million, and they needed 3 extra million to shoot in Santa Rosa. And Harvey Weinstein was like, no, get out of here. So Wes Craven and crew are in the elevator walking down to the cab, and somebody's like, oh yeah, instead of Wes Craven's, scary movie, because that's what the title was at the time, we'll just do Joe Blow's scary movie and we'll sell like a ticket or two. And Harvey's like, all right, bring them back, you're right. And like, so they end up getting the 3 extra million to shoot in Northern California, to then end up having that school that they wanted to shoot at only be like, no, you're not allowed to shoot here. Have you guys heard about any of that kind of controversy about making this movie or
I did
anything?
not.
It was one of the most illuminating things in this book, is finding out that Wes Craven was literally about like opening up the cab door when Harvey Weinstein's like assistant came back and was like, whoa, Harvey wants you guys to come back up. We'll figure it out or whatever. And so I was just like, this iconic movie that means so much to us, that we were like, that I was like, hey, you guys want to do a series about the Scream movies? And everybody was like, yes, I am game. Like, there was no like hesitation from anyone. Everybody was like, I'm in. So this movie that means so much almost didn't happen because Wes Craven wanted to shoot in Northern California, and Harvey Weinstein was like, no, you're not allowed $3 million extra to get it. Like,
And what's that to Harvey Weinstein?
right? Right? Especially with like the Oscar hits that they had at the time. Like it's insane. What does this film mean to everybody? Do you guys hold this up as like the greatest slasher? I know, Jodi, you said it's your favorite slasher, but what does that mean in the lexicon of Ghostface, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, I mean, Art the Clown, even now more recently, like all slashers, all people that are, doing it. Where does Ghostface and the Scream series kind of go for you in that tower of slashers?
For me, it is at the top. And I think like compared to like the bigger movies of the 70s and 80s, like the Jasons and all of that, there was something paranormal about them. And this was not only humans, it was kids, it was teenagers. So that alone was like so scary because, like you said earlier, it like could happen. But also, like in terms of the genre, the way it was so self-referential and was like making fun of the genre and maybe its need to be revamped a little bit because people were kind of tired of the same old things, but then they would go and do those. And it was so funny too.
Yeah. And I would say for me, I'm gonna reiterate what you just said. I think it was the first time I saw a horror movie that also incorporated comedy. And so I think that's really what made it stand out. Like I think Matthew Lillard gave a performance of his lifetime, and at the time, he was kind of a nobody. This was like his first major film, right? And I'll never forget like experiencing that, and his like just like the liver alone joke will go down in his one of the best movie quotes of all time, let alone just like a horror quote.
Put it
So
on his tombstone like that.
Right?
It's good stuff.
Liver.
Yeah, it's so good. And he's just so silly. Like he's so wonderful. And I appreciate that now when he does all the conventions. There's so many actors that try to move away from the movie that, made them famous, but he just, you can tell, soaks it up, and he's just so grateful for it and loves the fandom, and it's really fun.
I mean, again, how crazy is it that a dude like Matthew Lillard, who is probably most remembered as Stu from Scream and Shaggy from Scooby Doo,
Yeah.
again, total opposite ends of the spectrum, but like amazing, unforgettable roles. Like to this day, like I love everything about those Scooby Doo movies, but like sign me up for silly Matthew Lillard as Shaggy all day. Eddie, how about you? Slasher films, because you also like a little bit different kind of a horror film than I would say even myself, and even like some slashers. because you really like those like Conjuring and stuff movies, so you like that paranormal kind of like
Yeah,
aspect to it. So
I got really into the Conjuring movies, I think, because I watched the first one when I was like 12 and I was like just old enough to have the horror hit me, but not like traumatize me. You know, I was like,
yeah.
so that like that got me into that, and then I like wanted to watch all the Conjuring films, although that whole world, not all of them are great. But slasher films, I think it's the greatest in my opinion. It's my favorite slasher film. I think it's the greatest. Like Becky and Jodi said, there's comedy, which I think is awesome. The lack of paranormal, I think, is cool for the slasher film too. And then I also like that it's kind of the whodunit. You know, like you don't like. I really like like Halloween. You know, it's Michael Myers. Like Friday the 13th. You know, it's Jason or Jason's mom, whatever. But like you you get it. You kind of know who it is. But in here, like I think they do a good job. Like rewatching it though, I'm like, wow,
How obvious did they make it
it's
for us?
literally, yeah,
Oh
it's
my
like literally
God.
maybe the most obvious thing ever. But like watching it for the first time, I didn't really know
Yeah,
until
no.
until they got to the
I
house and like, I really
I
didn't know.
don't think I did. I was wondering if, since you saw it older, if you could remember what you thought, because I don't remember we were so little. We probably were just happy to be there. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's Billy. No, it's him. No, we probably just believed whoever was the suspect at the time because we were so little. Or maybe you remember differently, Becky. I don't
Well, no,
remember.
but it brings us back to like this. It was kids who did it. Like, was there a movie back then where high schoolers were mass murderers? Like, people probably, even though you had to suspect it was a character that we had already met, your brain
Yeah,
didn't really fathom.
there were definitely slashers, but I don't think they were mainstream. You had like prom night and some of the like sorority row, like you had movies like, but they were like cheesy, like the very 80s, like
Mhm.
terrible effects, like they weren't taken seriously. They certainly didn't make the kind of money at the box office as Scream did. So it wasn't new, but there was something new about it, I guess.
I really liked the two killers too. Like
Yeah.
that was cool and pretty unique. I think compared to a lot of other slashers that came up
Yeah,
with.
so we don't
That's
know. Well, Billy was in
yes.
jail. It couldn't have been Billy. So
Yeah,
yeah, that's it was
So
a good
that's why it wasn't that obvious. Like,
yeah.
because when you said, "Oh, it's so obvious," I'm like, "But was it?" Because they cleared him. He had the alibi. Like, how
And in
could
the
he have
video
done
store
it?
movie, like I love that scene so much when Randy and Stu are talking about Billy being the potential killer, and then like when Billy and Stu kind of like corner him, I'm like, it is so they're so creepy.
yeah.
So Billy is so creepy, and the sound effects he gets every time he's on screen are so
Yeah.
creepy.
Well, like the scene where Stu says "Live her alone" too. Like they ask where Stu was, they ask where Randy was, but Billy never gets asked where he was, and that was like very obviously on purpose as part of the writing in the scene, so that he never had to say.
Yes. Well, and
Yeah,
then Billy, like Stu offers, like, "Oh, I didn't do this," and then Billy says, "Nobody says you did," and then he looks at him like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Like, you don't notice that at first, but then you watch it later and you're like, "Damn, it
Well,
was right
how
there."
about okay, so how about after the second day, like Sydney gets her call at home, and then the next day, like, is spending the night at Tatum's house, and they're walking
R.I.P.
home now, getting ready to start the like third act. But Stu convinces Sydney and Tatum to go to the party at his house. And his
Yep.
like that means
yeah,
so much more now on the
yeah.
rewatch of like
The
of
plan
like
worked.
yeah,
Yeah.
like oh my god. Because imagine if Sydney pushes back more to Tatum there and it's like, nah, girl, we're not. What?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
That's a good point. I
Oh.
never thought about that.
It like so again, like again, initially, like the Billy at the fountain scene means a lot more on that rewatch. The Stu getting excited when they agree to go to the party means a
Remember
lot more
the
on that
police
rewatch.
station where like Billy's like staring at her and
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah,
it's so
yeah.
creepy.
I'm
Mhm,
gonna kill you.
right? Like
Yeah.
also, can we talk about Wes Craven picking two people who look so much alike to be leads in Skeet Ulrich and fucking Johnny Depp?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point because he's in Nightmare on Elm Street. Ooh.
resemble each other. Actually, I never really thought about that.
Oh, that was a big Skeet Ulrich got that comparison a lot.
Unfortunate, yeah. And then like being
I'm
in
sorry.
such a being in such a big hit of Scream again with Wes Craven, like it never stopped following that dude. But
I'm
like
sure.
it was I love Wes Craven. Like that dude has scared me and made me think about horror in so many different ways. From Last House on the Left to The Hills Have Eyes, which is like one of tough movie to watch. Both the original and the remake have a really tough sexual assault in it, and it
Mm-hmm.
is they are not for the faint of heart.
Mm-hmm.
But then he comes out with two iconic slashers in Freddy Krueger and bringing to life Ghostface from with Kevin Williamson. Like
Wasn't the costume an accident?
the costume just says like in the description it said Ghostface. And when they are scouting one of the houses, I think they're looking for Tatum's house or Sydney's house. Either way, it's on a block and they're looking at a bunch of different houses. They enter a random house, and in the bedroom, that mask is hanging on a bedpost in a room.
Oh my.
So that they it so it's some like older couple, I guess, and their kids had moved out and like they were like almost grandparents or whatever. So like that was an old mask from one of the kids that had been there. And
I'd be like,
so
where are my royalties?
they're credited. It's F&M. It's F&M Fun World, I think. At the end of the credits, so what happens is they find the Ghostface thing. They can't find anyone who owns it, so they just start using it. Blah 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 blah. They eventually find it, and they find an actual Ghostface mask in a package. And on the package, Wes Craven, in a very small little corner of the package, sees TM for trademark. Wes is like, we are fucked
Yeah.
unless we can get them to like agree or whatever. So what happens is this company then is just a small family owned company. And they're like, okay, all we want for this first Scream movie, credit us. Like special thanks to blah blah blah, like FNM Fun Ghostface mask courtesy of FNM Fun World, like Incorporated or whatever they are. And so they do that, but that FNM Fun World then also went back to their original copyright and trademark of the mask and changed the name to Ghostface as well, so it all matches now. Which is wild,
A
wild stuff,
win-win for everybody.
right? Like, and far as I know, like everybody's still happy. They might, I mean, those guys might even get cameos now in like the movies later on to, we'll
Yeah.
we'll pay you a little bit of a cameo fee as opposed to a royalty fee for it, but that's kind of it. We'll pay you a little bit of money, you'll let us use the mask, and we'll probably go on our ways. It's probably the deal that they have now, but I mean, I don't know.
Speaking of cameos, Wes Craven is in Scream.
As
Freddy Krueger. Oh, Fred the
Oh,
Fred
yeah.
the janitor.
Fred the Oh, I didn't know that was Wes.
Oh wow.
That's the whole reason that,
Yeah.
Becky, you know a little bit about this? Tell us.
I mean, I don't know like I genuinely don't know the story, but I remember I think it's on the Movies That Made Us. And I don't remember. I genuinely don't remember what the story was, but it's just funny because he turns and says, "What did you say?" And the principal says, "Sorry, Fred."
Yep.
But
And,
I
Got the sweater on and the hat.
yes,
Mhm.
exactly. I don't remember why they did it or if it was meant to just be a nod.
so they were just doing cameos, and people were like, "Wes, you should be in this movie because it's like it would be so funny to have you cameo in your own movie, meta movie about horror. Like it's just layer on top of layer. Like this probably like this idea probably gave Christopher Nolan the inspiration for Inception or something. It's like one of those kind of crazy level
Yeah.
of things.
Well, they
And
also
Wes Craven's
reference
just
his
like,
name. Tatum says, "You see too many Wes Carpenter movies.
Yep.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I think which was a nod to John Carpenter. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, another guy who did Halloween, gave us like the first final girl, or probably the most famous final girl, in Jamie Lee
Mhm.
Curtis.
Mhm.
The Thing by him is awesome.
But yeah, Fred being the janitor, that's the original Freddy Krueger costume though, because Wes Craven kept that. So like
Oh,
he
that's a
he
fun
kept
detail.
that from like 84 on. So he brought it down and was like, all right, I'll go in this. In the behind the scenes thing, he falls over and stuff. Like he does this like almost like Charlie Chaplin kind of like slapstick falling over thing. It's like really obnoxious and really out of
Maybe they
place.
made the right choice cutting that.
Yeah, just being like, what'd you say?
There was
Continue.
there's
What you
another
got?
thing I thought that was really funny. I don't know if you guys have seen Peaky Blinders,
Oh, yeah.
but they were playing Red Right Hand.
Yes.
Yeah, like multiple times in the background. I was just like thinking how funny it is to parallel like Tommy Shelby and Ghostface together. It's like the one line is like you'll see him in your nightmares, you'll see him in your dreams or whatever. Like I was just like, oh, that's funny. Tommy Shelby and Ghostface are the same.
That
Nice.
song will, like, even though it is synonymous with Peaky Blinders for me, that song will always just remind me of Scream. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. They play it in multiple of the movie. Like,
yeah.
So, what other cameos did you guys like or see in this first Scream movie? We've obviously talked about Wes Craven showing up in there. Who else do you guys get?
I don't know. What other ones are there?
oh,
Linda
Is
Blair?
the cameraman Meatloaf?
wait, the cameraman
Is
is
it
not
Meatloaf?
Meatloaf.
The
Okay.
cameraman is not Meatloaf, but
Okay.
Linda
Yes,
Blair is in that movie.
yes.
Oh,
The black-
she plays a reporter.
That,
The people deserve to
yep.
know.
And Dewey's like pushing her away.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know
Um,
that was Linda Blair.
Yes.
The girl who is gossiping in the bathroom, who's like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, like homicide so in
Yeah.
this year or whatever. That was Skeet Ulrich's girlfriend at the time, I guess.
All
Didn't
right.
realize that. Um, but what about, I mean, even Henry Winkler?
Yeah.
Like that's technically a cameo, I guess, because like he's not in it for a whole bunch. It's an extended one, maybe, but
Because he was a very, very, very well-known actor, and like even if you didn't watch Happy Days, was it called Happy Days?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Everyone knows who Fonzie is, right? So very well.
Hey,
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like one of those weird generational things, like maybe for our parents' age, where someone they used to watch who played a teenager is now playing the adult, and I'm noticing that now. Like,
right?
wait, what? What are these people playing the parents for? So I'm sure that was weird for like older generations to see him play the principal and die pretty much right away.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Eddie, do you have any connection to Happy Days or Fonzie?
No.
Yeah, that adds up. That's
I didn't watch Happy Days, but I know what it is.
Pops up everywhere though. Like he's in Waterboy. He was
Yeah.
the really silly lawyer in, was it Curb Your Enthusiasm?
No,
watch that.
Arrested Development. Oh my god.
Development, yeah.
Oh,
He's like the family lawyer, and he's
That's
like,
right.
really stupid. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I have the worst lawyers. Jeffrey Tambor. Oh my god. Yes, but you're right. He is the that's so funny. But yeah, he pops up everywhere. It was nice to see it.
He's working.
Actually he's pretty wild in this because he's like wielding those scissors
Yeah.
around like
Those
with
are
Yeah.
some intense scissors. Like, why is that just in an
Honestly,
office?
though, like,
and like
he should put those kids in their place, and he did. I applaud it every time.
I think he did the right thing. Yeah.
right? Like I'm not disagreeing here. Like those kids needed to be expelled. That was like lunacy.
Yes, it sure was.
So I guess basically before we go into the, let's call it almost now, the last 40 minutes or so of this movie, is there anything that you guys think that we've missed previous to this point of talking about Sydney, Nev Campbell, Tatum, Rose McGowan, Skeet as Billy, Matthew Lillard as Stu.
This isn't necessarily like, about the movie, but I think more standout things about the movie are like the one-liners.
hmm
Ashen.
Oh yeah.
Tatum's outfits were fire. And just like the one-liners, like the liver alone and
Yeah.
the homicide is a more therapeutic expression and things like that. Like, and the girl's like, where do you get this shit? But the way that they talk is just
Lake.
so funny.
Ricky
And
Lake.
yes.
And Tatum wears an outfit paying homage to Johnny Depp's character in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh my
She wears
gosh,
the jersey.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's what he's wearing when he dies. He's got that little crop top jersey on. Or is it when he died? But he wears a crop top jersey.
Right.
13, I think, is the number. And she wears that little silver one with the red pants. Great outfit. When Stu's convincing them to go to the party. So that's another fun like tie-in.
like bam, Sid, super bitch.
Yes.
Like we also haven't
I'll
talked
send you a copy.
we haven't talked about Randy.
I was gonna say something about Randy.
But we gotta
Let's talk about Randy. Let's talk about Randy.
I think it's so funny that everyone thinks it's like the Sydney picks up the phone. Oh, stop fucking with me, Randy. Whatever. Like Tatum's in the garage with the guy with Ghostface, and she's like, Randy, it's not funny. Whatever. And then like the guys are also saying like, well, why isn't it you, Randy? And so like I just think it's so funny that everyone was saying it was
You're
Randy.
right. If this was a movie, I would be the prime suspect.
Yeah.
He knows everything about horror films.
And then he doesn't follow his own rules. Like
Yeah.
at the party, does not follow his own rules. But even like with the quotes, Becky, like I still catch myself if I say I'll be right back. I even did it yesterday, and I was like, we don't say I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
Like I said it yesterday as I like hopped out of the car, and I was like, no. 30 years later, I'm still like, no, don't say that.
I think Randy kind of brought a new character to horror as well, because he was like, he knew the rules. He called out who the killer was from the get-go.
Mhm.
I mean, in a lot of ways, he was like the biggest eyes for the audience because, like, whether you just like watched horror movies, like, just because like horror was your favorite genre, or whether you were kind of like studying film, being like, I need to consume it all to understand it all to make my all or whatever. Like he is that surrogate of just people thinking about it, what's going on here, what happens in these other situations, because they're already talking about movies being a real thing and horror movies in particular, the slasher, being something that is easily consumed. And that's one of the best things about Scream is that, like, we've talked about it, how like real it felt. Drew Barrymore. Oh, I'm making some popcorn. Oh, I only watch popcorn, Ghostface. I only eat popcorn when I'm at the movies. I'm about to watch a video. Like it just ebbs and flows so beautifully in these like individual scenes. Like to say that Kevin Williamson's script isn't just like killer,
Mhm.
like pun intended, like it's just amazing. It's a great script.
One-liners. Lots of scary movies will have like famous one-lines, but this movie has endless one-liners. Like I quote it all the time. Like
Me too.
plays football and he'll kick the shit.
That's a good point. I feel like every major character has a memorable, quotable line. It's not just like the one character that's like the funny one. Like we could probably go through and name some of the memorable quotes. Yeah. And we didn't talk about Dewey either, I guess. Dewey deserves a shout out. He almost feels like the heart. Or maybe that's me saying it with hindsight after seeing all the movies. But yeah,
I mean,
Correct me if I'm wrong. Dewey in the Scary Movie parody, is he the killer?
yes.
Yeah.
Right?
He's the Kaiser Sose. Like,
yeah, the Kaiser Sose. It's literally so, that is so funny because it fits his character so perfectly that he would like, that characterization of him in Scary Movie, I think is so funny.
Well, part of seeing so like when Sydney's in the bathroom after the girl's like homicide so in this year, when you see the boot come down, that boot matches Dewey's boots
Mhm.
that he's wearing. So like that's one of those things like if you've seen it, you're like, wait a second, is Dewey the guy now? Because again, it was a subtle red herring in that, and that was one of those things where I was like, I don't think I ever realized it, because it's like why do you show the boot coming down instead of just the jeans and then pant and then like the ghost face thing dropping instead? You show the boot because other people have worn a similar boot already, and it's
including
meant to,
Billy.
yeah, exactly.
Billy's
Billy
wearing
and
boots.
Dewey each wear those kind of boots and stuff. And so it's meant to be like, wait a second, is this Dewey now? Did he snap? Did like Tatum's like aggression towards him, or like making fun, maybe not aggression, but like making fun of him and like just being that sibling rivalry thing, and him just trying to prove that he's a man, like make that dude snap, and is he going after people now? Because that was a theory, like for things like, is Dewey a killer?
Like as
Huh?
a child. I honestly can't recall what my theories were as a child.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, Becky, we probably didn't have, like I said, it's probably whoever they were focusing on at the time. We were like, yeah, like I don't even think if we knew to like. I wish I remembered, but I don't. But I was just thinking how reveals are so lackluster to me now after that. Like nothing really like,
Mhm.
even if it surprises me, I'm like, okay. Like I just watched Hell of a Summer yesterday, which is a new slasher, and it was really fun. But I was like, okay, like sure, yeah, that makes sense. But it doesn't hit like Scream. I don't know, it doesn't.
So we've talked. Do we need to highlight anybody else? We've talked about Dewey. We hit on Randy now. What about Tatum? Have we talked about Tatum? I know you wanted to talk
Little.
about her outfits, Becky. So like, I want to give you some time to talk about it. I mean, forever one of the funniest things is always the garage scene and her
Mhm.
and her wardrobe malfunction, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Just funny. Um, forever funny for me. Sorry.
That's probably one of the best kills, I think,
right.
in horror history. In
Well,
in my expert opinion.
and
Even though it would never happen, but that's what makes it so funny and cool.
one of the best things was Wes Craven being like, "Yeah, we were surprised she was able to get as far as she could through that little dog door." And I was like, "What are you talking about, man? It's
She
only a
could
dog."
fit through it. Rose McGowan said
Yes,
she could fit
like,
through it.
I know, but like in all of those behind the scene things, there's always a cut of Wes Craven being like, "Yeah, we just didn't know how far she'd be able to get through there, and she got really far through there." And it's just like, it's like, Mike, what are we talking about? Like, I don't know. It's a doggy door.
Yeah.
Those things are like, they're small, but they're not like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's a
She
good
had
thing.
to die, but it's about, there's a handful of like from slasher movies where I'm like they should have lived, and she's one of them.
Yeah.
I get why she had to die, but she was just such a down ass bitch. Like she does question Sydney a little bit and kind of tell her she needs to get over her mom a little bit, which is not cool, but she was a teenager. But the way she defended Sydney and like she was a
Mhm.
good friend, and yeah, I guess that's part of the heartbreak of Sydney and the saga of these movies is this: she can never just have peace and be happy. Like everything she loves is going to be ripped away. Um, but yeah, she did have cool outfits. She was she was the sassy, she was overtly sexual, which per the rules she had to go.
Right.
She breaks all the rules too. So
The rules. So
the rules.
did this movie teach you about like movie rules, horror film rules, like, or at least introduce like the
Yeah,
concept
Randy
that,
gave us a lesson.
right?
I took a horror movie class last quarter at DePaul, and for
Nice.
the
I
slasher.
went to DePaul.
Oh, nice.
I accidentally minored in digital cinema, so
Oh, okay. I'm majoring in accounting, so I don't. These are just elective, but like, I took the horror movie class, and the first week was slashers, and it was about final girl. It was about like yeah, like sexual activity and like virgins, and just like, and then you see it right there. And I think for the movie we had to watch for that was, I think, the original Friday the 13th, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken, which it fits. Those tropes
Yeah.
are also there.
It does. Sure. Yep.
But yeah, no, I think it follows the tropes very, very good in Scream.
Right? Because it's what? We've got Halloween in 78, we've got Friday the 13th, I think, in 1980, and then we get Freddy in 84. And then you get like Pinhead and Chucky to like round out like the new modern like monster movie, like taking on the mantle from like Universal and stuff from like the 30s and 40s. Scream, this last act, the final 42 minutes, that was literally like, it blew my mind that the final like act, the third act, is 42 minutes long, and it is a bloodbath in Stu's house. I don't think I ever timed it like before, or really like kind of like put that together until I heard that in like both the like book and the documentary.
So that's
like,
what, half the movie? Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
Feel it in your soul.
Literally.
You're like, oh, the party's coming.
Yes.
yes,
It's all leading up to the
Feel
party.
it. Yeah.
These dumbass kids. They're like,
well,
why?
you also got to think about it. Up until that finale, Casey, Steve, and the principal are the only ones who are dead.
Oh.
Aside from Sydney's mom from a
Right.
year before. But like I would say like we're gonna put that over
Yeah,
there.
let's just
But like, but really, it's Casey and Steve in the first 13 minutes, and then about that hour and 10-minute mark, you get the principal being killed on campus, but not talked about until the
Until the
final
party.
42 minutes,
Yeah.
so that they can leave. The death of principal like Wimby or whatever, is because Kevin Williamson needed to get the rest of the kids out of the house.
Ah.
Bob and Harvey Weinstein are like,
Oh, yeah.
well, why don't you just kill the principal? We go too long before we have the final bloodbath. Kill somebody in between there. And then you kill that principal, but they get the call about him to have all of the other drunken kids leave. So that then it's just Randy, who's not going to go anywhere because he doesn't care enough and he's too drunk to know. Sydney and Billy are, getting it on. Stu just probably, put Tatum up in the garage door. And, you've got Gail and Dewey
on a lover's stroll.
Yeah, on like a little lover's stroll. And the cameraman's already had his throat slit, more or less, maybe. He might still be watching from the camera. But like, that's kind of like that setup up until like once that call is over.
And they find Sydney's dad's car, and Dewey's like, what's Mr. Prescott doing here? So then you're like, it is the dad.
Which, if it was the dad, would have just been like awful. I would have been so upset.
So boo. We were sitting here talking about it.
No, like that would have just been terrible.
Yeah. We would.
Yeah, I guess we didn't mention the dad. Well, it's not all that important.
But again, like,
Mm-hmm.
how important is he? Like, he is like, I swear, I thought I heard screaming. Okay, I'll see you Sunday, honey.
I'll just go away for a week and leave you at home in this huge mansion. When you're
and it's pretty remote, her house, and her mom was just killed like a year ago. And
she's not worried at all. He didn't check into his hotel, and she's like, and they're like, could he have stayed somewhere else? And she's like, I don't know. I'll just go to the party until we figure it out.
You know what?
Anyone checking in on her, nothing.
One of my favorite things about Sydney as a character is the fact that she breaks a lot of those like tropes of horror. I mean, we kind of touched on it, but like, speaking of her dad made me think about the like attack and break in at her house, and like where she's like, yeah, some big breasted bimbo is like running up the stairs instead of running out the door, and What does Sydney do though? As she
She runs.
walks back into her own house, she latches it. So that
But she
her
also runs up the stairs.
exactly because she latches the thing and like so like I'll defend her that she's like I'm
Oh,
trying
yeah.
to protect myself and latch, but it's like yeah, why like the dude had the thing stuck in the door. Why aren't you still running out the door grabbing that knife instead of running upstairs? But that's the beauty of Sydney though. And like of this movie of turning those conventions and things on its head.
Yeah.
That it allows her to live. She has sex. She doesn't really drink or anything. That's like that might be the one thing that kind of saves her that night in this final
Yeah.
act because like I don't really now that I think about it, I don't think she really like drinks. Her and Billy just kind of go upstairs. Like her and Tatum show up and then like oh Billy's randomly here and then
With another creepy entrance. He like
Yeah,
he like
super
yeah.
weird.
pops into the door all creepy.
And
So
she was like,
Like, go up to my parents' room. Ugh.
whatever.
Mhm.
I do love that they're showing Halloween in the movie as like what they're like watching there.
Mhm.
Um Matthew Lillard, I want to see Jamie's tits.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen until Trading Places, 1983. I just love little like I, I'm just so Randy. It's just like insane, like to a core. That
Yeah.
dude, that dude is my spirit animal.
Tragic character.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
He never gets
I
the
mean,
girl.
he shows up in 3 of them. So
Yeah.
like we
And
got
in
that.
spirit, he's in 5 because
Right.
his niece and nephew are what did you say what, Becky?
I just made a noise because it's
Oh, yes,
Oh
it
yeah.
is sad. Because his niece and nephew, and then they try to make the niece like the Randy stand-in. It's not the same, but okay.
Yeah. It's I do love this franchise because it does ebb and flow, but like and maybe that's not the right thing, but like when even Scream 4, my one of my favorite lines is one of the last lines of that movie is you don't fuck with the original. And fuck, I love that line.
Sydney
Like,
always has the last word.
Mhm.
right? That was one of my like because at first I remember watching that movie and I was like, I don't know if I loved it. But then like in real time, I was like, I don't know if I'm loving this movie. I do think I like it a lot, but I don't know where it like really stands. And then I heard that line and I was like, nope, I'm sold.
I
That's all I
love
needed.
it.
This pushed it over. I love it. I love it.
experienced what's her face? Emma
Robert.
Emma Roberts, yeah.
Mhm.
asshole. And I love when she plays like a bitchy character. I think she's so
Mhm.
I don't think it was necessarily believable, but her being this spoiled little bitch was believable. And who doesn't love a Culkin? Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, like
You
for
get immediate legit points when you've got a Culkin for sure. Even if it's not one of the main 2, but you know,
Yes.
Rory, we're glad to have you here.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. He's also great. Scream 4, I'm really excited to talk about that because I really like that movie. I really
It's a
do.
great one. Mhm.
But so for Scream, now this final 42 minutes, the principal dies,
Mhm.
everybody is leaving. We've got Sydney, Tatum's dead, Stu, Billy, and Randy, Gail and Dewey. The first time finding out in the kitchen, Sydney, Bill, Stu, and that little trifecta of just like mind blowingness of what's going on there and reveals of what's been happening and what's been messing with Sydney for well over the last year now. What was that like?
when
The
Billy
first
turns and it's like,
We all go a little mad sometimes.
oh, I remember
Anthony
being
Perkins, Psycho.
genuine, like
It
because
was
we
so
all thought
good.
he was stabbed and killed, and we were like, it wasn't Billy, and then you're like, wait, it was Billy this whole time. I remember being genuinely shocked, even though he literally didn't even have to exit character because he was that creepy.
Yeah,
Like,
he didn't really
Mhm.
change all that much. You're right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, his
He
voice got a little more sinister, especially when he's explaining the motive that Stu
Yeah.
didn't even know that they're like the look on Stu's face
Yeah.
when he's like, "Oh shit!" Like, I just thought we were having fun. Like, I just thought we were kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, it was so good, so shocking, but like not, but it was. It
Especially
was
the
so good.
suit part, I think.
Yes, yes, and it feels very hopeless at that point because she's like, "Stu," and he's so big, and she like goes into his chest, and she's like, "Oh my god," I forget the word she says exactly, but she goes into his chest, and he's just like got this creepy look on his face, and he pulls out the little voice changer, surprise,
Wow,
Sydney, and it
so
just feels so hopeless at that point, like,
Yeah.
oh, she's fucked.
Mhm.
No way a woman can beat all these guys.
I mean, and that's like even part of the craziness, like that, like I say craziness because like you haven't seen that in horror. Like you barely see like Jamie Lee Curtis barely gets by Michael Myers. Nancy barely gets by Freddy Krueger. But Sydney now, not only just like a ghost face, but a tag team of crazy and macabre and like just death basically um
And then
coming after her,
and murdered her mother.
right?
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah,
and
it gets deep. It gets real deep.
Wham! Yeah, she like faints. She's like, "Ah."
Oh, where you going?
um I will say some of the things that like we haven't talked about for this movie is that there is an NC-17 cut of the movie, which has some extended scenes, particularly in the beginning with the Casey and Steve death. You actually see Steve's guts fall out from the inside of
Sure
him.
do. Mhm.
What you end up seeing in the theatrical version is just his like one of his intestines just kind of flapping in the wind, which
Yeah.
is equally kind of messed up. And like
Yeah.
I kind of laugh now because I'm sick in the head, but like that tale for another day. And then some of the other things aren't like really that crazy. Like there's little cuts here and there. Like when you're looking at Casey when she's hanging, it's not sped up, I guess, actually in the theatrical cut. Like you actually just slow, like kind of move up there, which I'm so intrigued. I have an unrated cut coming to me. I'm very excited to talk about it when we rank all of these movies at the end again. But then there's the end here. That is some of the biggest changes because in the theatrical cut, you just see them kind of make the like stabbing motions basically. In the unrated cut, you see blade go into skin on every one of those stabs that they do to him.
Hmm.
And Billy also has a lot of blood dripping off his hand at one point that they like don't show anymore in it. So it's just like
Hmm.
and it doesn't even sound that bad, but it was like NC-17, so it's like can't put that out because that's the kiss of death because that doesn't
Yeah.
it's not like a rated R movie where like an adult older brother or something, older sister can take their younger sibling with them to go see a Scream movie and it's okay. But
Mhm.
like NC-17, you have to be 17 or older to go see those. So
And good
it's
luck getting a
crazy.
production company to put it in theaters.
Right. And yeah, and then you have the worry of theaters not even showing it and like, distributing it or whatever because it's an NC-17. Um, but side note of that, very excited that the new Toxic Adventure with Peter Dinklage is being released unrated this August. Very stoked for that. Very, very excited. It's gonna be so gross and weird and wild, and I'm just like here for it. Peter Dinklage do weird Toxic Avenger stuff. I'm just here for it. Um, but this final showdown, then I one of the all-time favorite lines, as we've discussed, is Matthew Lillard saying, "Hit me with the phone, you fucking dick."
Mhm.
There's like
Is
so many great ones.
is
Like
like
He
one
does.
of the
I
best
My mom
lines.
and dad are gonna be so mad. Yeah, that one is.
a little Billy here.
Yeah.
That
Oh.
him during that scene is just so good. Like I think it makes the whole scene.
It's so good.
It does.
It's so good. And it
good,
just
but-
shows how young they are, like how
Yeah.
little he actually thought this through.
Right.
And maybe gives us a glimpse into how charismatic or convincing Billy is, that he like convinced some, because we can assume Billy's the one in the lead here, right? Especially once he talks about that there is an actual motive. Yeah, like he just seems so young in that like, you're just a kid.
Yeah, you really are like, yeah, you really are just a kid. I love that whole phone line though happens of like Matthew Lillard actually getting hit, because the fake blood that they were using on set for it had the phone stick to Skeet Ulrich's hand, so it was a true mistake of throwing the phone,
Yeah.
because he meant to throw the phone like off screen, but since it stuck to his hand, it diverted.
Yeah, it was ad lib.
Oh.
It diverted and hit him. So like, yeah, that whole like, oh you fucking dick, you hit me with the phone is an ad lib.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
And
What-
Sydney gets a good one-liner in there too. She calls him a pansy ass mama's boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. So Sydney pops out, like they start playing that cat and mouse game, right? You know, here after this, when Sydney pops out and stabs like, or like hits Skeet Ulrich with the umbrella right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that dude actually had open heart surgery when he was 10 years old. And so he had like a hole with like a wire for like something for his heart from this. And they had a pad, like a safety pad over it, but Nev Campbell missed and like
Oh.
stabbed him on that. So like the pain that he shows of being stabbed is her missing the pad and actually hitting like that hole in his chest or like whatever. And so like I guess it was extremely excruciating pain, and it is a real, not fake reaction that we see on screen of when he's like, and,
That
like, kind
makes
of falls
sense.
over
I
like
thought
that.
his reaction was, I'm like, you just got stabbed, my man, and like the umbrella is what does it. So that makes sense.
Right? Like, so like if you ever thought that was unbalanced, like there you go. But the motive and what Billy says about it comes from a note from Kevin Williamson. He got two notes. One saying no motive, one saying there has to be a motive. So that was part of the that like kind of lent itself then to the two killers. One can have no motive, like Stu, and one can have a motive, like Billy, but Billy in the end is still giving the explanation of it. Like, you know, Stu's just like, that's the thing, Sydney. You don't have to have a motive. And like Billy's like, yeah, but there is
Like
still-
about that.
yeah, about that. You know, like her mom, I am calling a whore and destroyed my family. So like,
Let's face it, Sid, your mother is no
No
Sharon.
Sharon Stone. Yeah.
Matthew Lillard is so good.
Yeah.
So good. He is oh my god. Amazing.
What was the other line he had? God, I forget the contact, but peer pressure. I'm way too sensitive.
Oh yeah, I'm way too sensitive. Yeah. Yeah, she says, the police are on their way. Billy's got a motive. How about you? And he says, peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive. And that's when Billy takes the phone back. He's like, where are you? Slut? And then he starts like stabbing the couch and just like, yeah. That's a really funny line.
Peer pressure.
So Billy stabs the couch. They didn't know that couch had feathers in it. So when the feathers shoot
Fun
out of it,
surprise.
that was a surprise for everybody involved.
His whole arm too.
Yeah, it was funny. Probably because it was like corn. Oh, he did have the fake blood on him.
Right?
He
At that
says
point, he
corn
was
starch, just like they use in Carrie.
Yeah.
At
Or
that
pig's
He
blood.
was already stabbed, so he was like bleeding to death as well.
Right.
Yes.
They all use the same costume, for 3 weeks in a row, basically, because once the bloodbath happened, like, they couldn't, like, wash the clothes and then watch footage and try and rematch the amount of blood. So, like, they filmed everything in, like, parts over 21 days, at that house, and, but yeah, once they got to the, like, kitchen on, like, finishing up, they were just wearing the same bloody clothes, like, day after day, and
It's smart for
I was like,
continuity.
yeah,
Yeah.
that sucks because like that stuff is stiff
Yeah.
after. like,
Mhm.
Especially Billy and just like his little white tee.
right?
Yeah.
He is wearing a little white tee. You're
He
right.
is. But then, so does anybody else have anything else to say about this final battle here between Sydney, Billy, Stu, any of them?
Stu is dead.
I
Stu
agree.
is not dead. Or be dead. And I would welcome that gladly if he weren't. I would suspend all the disbelief for that.
You know, I would too, just because I personally think he made the movie. So we'll see.
I would just love to see him again. The one thing I'll say, like, about the end, since seeing this movie, I have this weird, irrational, that I hope is not true, belief that a day will come that I'll need to know how to work a gun, like Gail gets the gun, but the safety's on and she doesn't know. And she gets, I mean, she lives obviously, but I feel like that's so young to be like, this might happen someday where the gun is going to come sliding to me and I need to know. I need to know how to use it. It would be irresponsible if I didn't. And so I, thanks to Scream and the many movies I've seen since then, I have this weird belief that it's important I know how to work. Just the
I-
lasting impact, because she almost gets got because she didn't know how to work the gun. Something as
Yeah.
simple as the safety.
One of her like final lines is remember the safety this time, didn't I? Or something. It's
Yeah.
like one of her like final lines, and it's a great line.
Mhm.
I mean, my wife's dad used to build his own guns, so she knows all about guns.
It seems like just a smart piece of information. I don't know. I just figured I'd,
No,
because that's like a weird lasting impact that I can remember being like, this is a thing that happens and you got to be ready. That's
well,
not good
it's
for like an
you know
8-year-old
what
to think, but you
it,
know.
at least Scream gave you that. Johnny Quest made me think I was going to be fighting quicksand every single day of my
Yeah.
life.
We
And
did.
you know what?
As kids, we thought quicksand was going to be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
Neverending Story was one of the saddest movies I've seen. And yes, quicksand does terrify the living shit out of me.
So like, I mean, I thought that was going to be a bigger thing. We have sinkholes more so than we have quicksand.
Yeah.
I guess they're kind
Those
of
are
the same
scary
thing.
too. Those are scary too.
But so
So-
yeah, I mean, learning to know how to use a gun to make sure you can be safe.
Figured I'd shout out Gail. She learned her lesson. She's still a final girl. She's out here still doing her final girl things.
Right? I mean, so Gail and Dewey, how about that?
Hmm.
Courtney Cox and David Arquette, like legitimately getting together, and then their like real life is reflected in like almost every single one of
Yeah,
those movies.
that's funny. Yeah.
It's kind of wild. But that's awesome. Like David Arquette's very funny.
He
Because
is.
he talks about like hearing about Courtney Cox joining like Scream and everything, and he was like, well, like I went into audition, they wanted me to play like Stu or something, but I asked about being Dewey, and according to the script, Dewey was like some huge like meathead like muscly kind of like described kind of cop, like a typical looking cop like that. And he was like, but Wes, I would like to try and like give Dewey a chance. And later on, people were like, why did you want to be Dewey? And he's like, because you got to kiss Courtney Cox. And it's like, all right, like I get it. You were also like 24 at the time. That also like adds up for you, my guy. Like
Mhm.
Also such a charming character. He's
He's
just
he's the
Dewey,
heart. Yeah.
I am not knocking Dewey at all.
yeah.
I'm just saying that was like a response that David Arquette gave, and I like I can't disagree with him. I can't disagree
And
with him.
he is doing like I can't picture him as Stu or
Right? Right. I want no part of that. I love
no.
him as Dewey. He's always been great. It's really funny that because of the comedy scary movie that like a lot of people will call him Doofy
Yeah.
because of that movie. And it's just like, my guys, you gotta learn your stuff. You
Put
gotta
some
learn your
respect on Dewey's name, Dwight.
Yeah.
right.
When he's wearing his badge, you got to treat him like a man of the law.
What am I tell you? I'm wearing this
He like shows up to the police station with an ice cream cone. He's like,
So
one officer's smoking, and Dewey's like,
Yeah.
the best thing about that scene, Wes tells David Arquette, all right, so the chief is going to be smoking, you're going to be having your ice cream. I want you to match his like hits like drags of cigarette for you taking a lick of ice cream. Every time he takes a drag, you take a lick of ice cream. Rewatch that scene now, and they go tit for tat.
that's
And
just a good direction because he's trying to like mimic his boss.
Yeah.
right? Like, but he's also like, I'm not gonna pick up smoking because like I'm
Yeah.
Dewey and like I'm a semi-hero and heroes don't smoke. But old, maybe soon to be retired police chiefs, they can.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's funny.
I love
Um,
learning new facts.
that was that was one of those things that it's just like I never would have known that. Like I never would have known that. I never would have paid attention to that, but that's like one of those things. I think I got that from the commentary track of Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson talking about it. Of like Wes Craven on the commentary track just being like, I was like, he. He's like giggling to himself, just being like, this will be so funny. Everybody will love it. And I mean, I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but like I have now, and it's very funny upon the rewatch.
I want to go rewatch it, even though I just did the other night.
You always can. I mean, they're just so good. um I guess the final two things then before we wrap up, does anybody else have anything else to say of the final of that finale at the house? The resolution, that really awesome crane shot going up
Yeah.
is at
Yeah, that's
scale.
what I was going to say. That final scene is just chef's
Mhm.
kiss. It's so good. And she's all messed up and disheveled, and she's like, "We're rolling." It's the song, the sunlight coming up. It's great. Perfect. No notes.
Right. Rewatching it, like that crane shot is just awesome. Like I just
Mhm.
love that so much.
Final
Uh,
line of the film, right? Like Randy says, but wait, this is the time where the killer comes back for one final scare. And Billy's like, ah!
yep.
And she's like, not in my movie.
Not in my movie. And that's another thing too. The whole time they're referencing it being a movie. Like right
Yeah.
from when Billy comes up to her window talking
Mhm.
about NC-17, and she's like, "Would you settle for a PG-13 relationship?" And the fact
Yeah.
that it is a movie is referenced. It's just fun. It's just so
It
clever.
is cool.
Right? Like it again, it's one of those things like the only other movie of a meta sort of type at this time is actually Wes Craven's A New Nightmare 3 years or like 4 years earlier in like 1991 or two. That's considered the first meta horror film where Scream came second, but like Scream did it better.
Mhm.
It's just odd that like Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, then does Vampire in Brooklyn with Eddie Murphy and Angela Bassett, then does Scream. And the one thing he learned from doing Vampire in Brooklyn that he changed on how he did in Scream is if it's not scary, the comedy doesn't work. I'm not out here to make a comedy. I'm out here to make a horror film. The comedy will fall in place if the horror works. And I can't say that enough of that. That is true of Scream. That is true of Shaun of the Dead. Probably another one of those like horror comedies, but like the zombie kills and the zombie makeup in that work. Like I
Yeah.
laughed throughout all of Shaun of the Dead. And maybe that says a lot more about me and like my mental
Well, it's
state
a
than
funny
like
movie.
No,
than
Shaun of the Dead's
anything
a
else.
funny movie.
Yeah.
But like Shaun of the Dead, I find like endlessly rewatchable. But like one of my buddies was like, dude, you know that movie's like scary, right? And I was like, is it? because I like tend to laugh, but
Half of it is scary. Yeah,
But-
like if it's in real life.
but I will say the makeup still works though. It's not like shabby like B like movie makeup. Like it is good zombie makeup. So for that, the realism more or less of it works. Whereas I think it also helps here with Scream. It's the same idea that like the horrors, the gore, the kills, the suspense, the murder mystery of it all works so that then Matthew Lillard knows what's going on in every single scene that he's in. So he's able to make those ad libs or add that comedic performance. You know, Jamie Kennedy as Randy also understands the comedy that his character is meant to invoke and stuff. He knows the type of movie that he's in as well and also delivers greatly. Um and Rose
Dude.
McGowan's just like an unstoppable force in this movie. She is
She
so
really is.
awesome.
I was telling my friends that like Scream the franchise one of my favorite movies, and then I was telling like I was doing this, and like I was just saying how much I liked it and stuff, and like a lot of my friends were under the impression that's just like a satire film, and I was like sure, like some pieces I guess you get that when they're kind of like picking on movie like this whatever, and I'm like
sure.
but no, it is a scary movie. I was like
Yeah.
like it's not just like a funny movie. Like you don't know who did it. You're scared when the like whoever is being hunted down is being hunted down. Like it's a scary movie, and there's good comedy in it, but it's not like a satire film. Like it's a horror movie. It's a slasher.
It's a horror movie.
That's so
first
interesting.
Yeah, it's a horror movie first and foremost. But like now, I because I even look at things like Idle Hands, another really funny, like outrageous like movie. But like that movie is almost, I'd say, more comedy than horror. But again, that makeup still works for like Seth Green and Eldon Henson and stuff in those movies. Like when they're in all their like zombieified like makeup and stuff, and Devin Sawa's just running around taking like hits off his like albuterol inhaler, which is like one of the all-time like craziest contraptions I've ever seen. And I don't know how that dude hasn't died from fucking like melting plastic and inhaling that. That's got to be awful for you.
Such a great movie, but honestly, that is it the opening scene where the old couple gets murdered?
His
Yeah.
parents.
It actually was pretty scary.
Yeah, it is.
The first time I saw it. Yeah.
It is. I do think of it more as a comic, kind of like those horror comedy, like Freaky and those other movies like that have kind of come out where
Yeah.
it's almost equal parts
Especially
horror
where
and comedy moving it
they're
along.
dead, they like come back and they're like funny.
Yeah, they are. It's like a stoner horror comedy.
Yeah.
It really
Featuring
is.
Jessica Alba, you know?
Yeah. Jessica Alba and Vivica Fox. Vivica Fox is giving one of the most unhinged performances in the world.
She is.
And I don't know, like, she does Independence Day and then she does this movie. And it's just like, my girl, who was your agent?
Yeah,
Who was
what's
signing you
going
up for
on?
these things?
Hey, that was a great movie.
I don't think it was received well at the time. It's kind of one of those now that is like.
Was it you who told me that they pulled it because it was around the time of Columbine, or did I learn that on a documentary?
Well, so that's why they had to change the storyline of Scream 3 was
Yeah.
because of Columbine.
Yeah.
I don't know about Idle Hands. Maybe that
It was
was.
some shooting that they had to pull it from theaters, so it didn't even get nearly as much.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't know that.
Maybe. But I know for Scream 3, part of the delay was Kevin Williamson doing Dawson's Creek, and then they waited 2 years to try and like form it all together. And then while they were trying to form it all together and write a script, Columbine happens, and that delays it longer. And that's also part of the reason why I don't like Scream 3 as much, but we can get into that more. I find it heavy on the comedy and light on like the scares and horror, and that's probably what bothers me more for it, is that I like where I think the balance is the other way, whether they're very close, but I think it leans a little bit more horror gore than it does comedy in the first two. But we'll be able to dive into that a little bit more. I guess for the legacy of Scream, is there anything else that you guys have to say or want to say about the rules that Scream has taught us, the legacy of slasher films, or what Scream means to each one of you. Jodi, anything else?
Well, I do think with people like Jordan Peele and other people coming in, at least like the rule of like if you're black, you die first. I do think that he doesn't make straight up slasher. There's like I guess
Yeah.
they're kind of slasher with like deeper commentary and elements to it. But it's funny to see in the last 30 years how true to form the horror genre is sticking to the rules, which is not that much anymore. But up until that point, I think Randy was accurate about the rules. But what are the new rules now? I don't know. That would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I answered your question. It means the movie
No.
means a lot to me. I love it. I watch it multiple times a year.
Nice.
If I were on Letterboxd top 4, it is in my top 4 for sure. If I ever got interviewed by Letterboxd, so that's how much I love it.
Excellent. Letterbox, excellent.
Mhm.
Top 4, love it.
Mhm.
Becky, how about yourself?
I feel like I spoke a lot. I kind of spoke a lot out of turn as well. I just hands down, this is one of my favorite movies, whether it just be a regular movie or a horror movie. I can watch it any time of year. It doesn't have to be just around Halloween. Iconic acting, costumes, one-liners. I can't really put into words what the movie means to me. That sounds really cheesy, but it's silly to say how much a horror movie can make me happy. Like I like beam talking about it. And I think I share that with my sister, which means a lot to me as well. So
We saw the last one in theaters together. I don't know about I can't remember the other ones, but the most recent one we saw with our parents.
Excellent.
Keeping
Excellent.
it in the family.
Eddie, how about yourself?
Like I said, this is probably my favorite slasher, one of my favorite horror movies, and I think because I watched it last night for this, I think it's like my fourth time watching. And I think it just gets better almost every time. Like I mean, not maybe not the first time, but like after that, it just keeps getting better after you watch it.
You find something new, right?
Yeah.
You find something new each time, which is so fun.
That's that's the beauty of like any good movie, is that you watch it, they're layered with things, whether they're, whether if it's a comedy and it's jokes in the background actually spoken or whatever. But like everything about this movie just works. That first 13 minutes with Drew Barrymore, you're just gripped. And then you get this awesome day in the life of like learning who Sydney is through school, Tatum, her friends, and everything. And again, it still blows me away that that final act in the house is 42 minutes long. Like insanity. But it
Mhm. It's
all
perfect.
but
Yeah,
it all works
it
so
does.
flawlessly. And some of my like Randy, like I said, is just like my spirit animal. He is just so much like me, and like even like the name of the show is commentary track. The whole idea of the thing was always to just talk about the things that we love, the movies and what they make you feel and how you enjoy them and things. Scream is just one of those movies that is endlessly enduring. It is one of the few horror movies that my wife always signs up for to
Nice.
watch and is always down to watch. Because horror usually actually isn't her thing. So, and that might be one of the most amazing things about Scream. Even if somebody isn't a typical huge horror fan or a huge slasher fan, people are like, "Oh, but Scream! No, 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 no. I'll watch some Scream. I will tune in for that."
Mhm.
And I don't know. Scream's great. This is we're in 2025 right now, so we're like 29 years away from 29 years into the first Scream movie. December 20th, 2026 is 30 years. It's insane. This movie's been around for most of our entire lives, all of your life, Eddie. Which is all like still craziness to think about too. Of like just
And it
movies
holds
hit
up.
guys,
right.
Like off the
Definitely.
top of my head, I can't think of like any non-PC lines that we just have to like skirt. Oh, maybe there are, but I'm not really thinking. Like a lot of the movies at that time, you're like, ooh, should we have laughed at that? Or like that doesn't hold up. That's not great. I can't.
Also just wasn't cheesy. You can even look back like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, even though that kind of reached high fame like Scream did, it just didn't even touch it. And
Nope.
the acting even still was kind of cheesy.
Kevin
You couldn't
Williamson.
replicate it, even though they tried to like replicate that magic of hiring the hot teen actors, and it wasn't the same. I agree.
Just all, like you said, it just all worked. I don't know what magic the casting crew had. They just all had this amazing rapport, and it worked.
Well, I mean, it all starts with Drew Barrymore walking away, being like, I don't want to be Sydney anymore. Start the movie with me being as Casey dying, and then everybody will feel unsafe the entire movie. And, you know, like for whatever reason, whatever like spooked Drew Barrymore for getting out of being Sydney, greatest thing in the world, because that idea worked. Like,
Mhm.
her starting the opening death, being like America's sweetheart at that point, and then giving way to Nev Campbell to like continue to crush it on Party of Five, and then have the Scream franchise like in tandem with herself. Like, I mean, I don't know if you could ask for anything better. Like, that stuff
And we
is
wouldn't
so
have all these sequels if it were Drew Barrymore.
right,
Like
because
even if she nailed it, like we wouldn't have all of that.
Drew Barrymore isn't going to stick around for 3 movies like that.
No.
You know,
Mhm.
like you might get her for 2. But she might
Maybe.
even ask to be killed
If
off
the
in the
money
second
was right. Yeah.
right? At that point, if the money is right, she might do it. But it was interesting. This movie is great. I think we've said it all. Nobody else has any final moments or moments mentions. So then yeah, I am Jimmy with the Triple C Collective. I want to thank you all for joining us, and Jodi, please say goodbye.
Goodbye. I'll be right back.
Becky.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next one.
Eddie.
See you guys. Looking forward to the series.
And I am Jimmy. We hope you all stay safe. Please like and subscribe to our video and to our channel. And yeah, I think we'll be right back.
Nice.